All right, welcome guys. So, welcome to Live Free podcast. I have one of my good friends, Garrett G. Ellison. This dude's an incredible guy, young, athletic boxer, making things happen in his life. And I wanted to bring him on and just kind of let him share a little bit about his story, his ambitions in life, what makes G who he is, and share him with you guys. And so, G, man, it's an honor to have you on, and looking forward to chatting with you. So let's kick it off by kind of sharing with everyone a little bit about yourself, man. Tell us about your story.
All right, hey, Justin, I definitely appreciate you letting me come on your podcast. It's a great, humbling experience to me. Uh, 27, uh, did 5 years in the Marine Corps. Uh, Before that, just a little troublemaker. Got in a lot of trouble with my parents and mostly my dad because my mom wasn't around. She left when I was a kid, and I stayed with my dad as much as I could, and then I got put in the foster system basically and got adopted by my best friend's mom and dad. So that way I can stay in Sulphur instead of having to go relocate to Texas and stuff like that.
What
Uh,
age was that?
my freshman year of high school.
Okay, good
So
deal, man.
I want to say
I,
like 14, maybe 15 at the latest. I got a late birthday. My birthday's in May, so I got a.
so so when you went into the Marine Corps, how was that experience?
The first 2 years were the roughest that I've ever experienced in my life because I was away from home. I didn't have anybody out there that I was really close with except like the first corporal that I got was my buddy Reggie, and me and him are still like tight to this day. We don't talk 24/7 like most friends do, but when we do talk, all it is memories and talking about the first day I showed up on base and my head was completely shaved bald. Like I took a razor blade and shaved my head because I tried to give myself a barracks cut and screwed my fade all up. And
Yeah, that's
that
cool, man.
he roasted me so much for the whole like first year of my Marine Corps career just because it took forever for my hair to grow back. And then my buddy Xavier, he's a MMA fighter in North Carolina, I believe.
Hmm.
Me and him started training together when I joined the Marines and got stationed in California. And he was like my best friend. He was a weight class below me, if I'm not mistaken. He fought at 45. I was fighting at 55 then. And he was like my brother. Like we did everything together. We ate at the chow hall together every day. We trained every day. It was just we were inseparable. Like dude would
Yep.
kick me in the face, and then I'd hit him with a two piece, and then it was but right back to it.
Yeah, I love having brothers like that you share a special bond with, and you know, even though, like you say, you may not talk every day, when you do, that connection is there, and that you'll have each other's back forever. So that's really special. So,
Definitely.
so when did you get into fighting? When did you start fighting in general? I mean, not necessarily on the street, but like when did you start training to fight? You know.
So my first official coach was Marcus Andruzia. He started training me in the garage of his parents' house when I was in sixth grade. And this is when I had
Okay.
met my best friend that I eventually had to move in with because we all lived in the same cul-de-sac, I guess you would
Okay.
call it.
Yeah, yeah. I know
But
Marcus. We came up together in the fight game, so I know
yeah,
Marcus well.
at a lake area, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, Marcus was my first official coach. Dude would beat me up in his garage, and then I'd go to my buddies, and we'd all beat each other up in the backyard of the house. And then my best friend Jody Kramer, uh, he was like really big in the Taekwondo, and
Mhm.
he started showing me all these like cool kicks, like the tornado kick, the 360 crescent kick, all this cool stuff that I could never figure out how to do.
Right.
But just watching him do it, it just drove me like more and more to want to do more combat sports. And I remember one time me and Jody were sparring in my friend's backyard, and Jody hit me with the tornado kick, and it popped me twice because he hit me with like his shin in the rib, and then right after his contact was made, he sent his foot up to my head and hit me with a head kick, and it was like holy cow, like I got to start taking Taekwondo. And I signed up at I want to say it's whatever the Taekwondo guy is here in
Master
Louisiana.
Choi. Master Choi.
Yes, Master Choi. And I did his class for like a month, and then I never went back. I was like,
Yeah.
as much as I wanted to do it, it was like, no, I couldn't. So after leaving there, I signed on with the high school wrestling team and started
Okay.
doing wrestling and stuff like that. And then lo and behold, I walk into Olympic and start training with Tyler Scalise and Aaron Davis and
Yeah.
Devin Hargrave. He was a big
I remember Devin.
he was a big
And
launching
his
point.
dad. I remember his
Yes,
dad. I even trained with his dad back in the day. And Devin
yeah,
when he was a kid.
they were big launching points for me getting obsessed, I guess you would say, with combat
Hmm.
sports and boxing and stuff like that.
Yep. Yep. And Aaron Davis, I came up with Aaron Davis too at LABJJ, and he's a good guy. I want to say he wrestled in the Navy or something way back in the day. He was a wrestler. Like
So on top of that, like I come from a line of fighters. My grandfather was a boxing champion in the Navy. I don't remember the
oh, cool.
years or what boat. I actually have a gold glove necklace that my grandfather gave me,
Oh, that's cool, man.
and
That's
then
awesome.
my cousin Trevor has the boxing gloves that my grandpa won his championship in at his house, hanging on his wall.
Very
Uh,
cool.
and then my dad boxed in high school for his high school team, which I don't even know why Louisiana doesn't do boxing teams anymore. But
I wish they did.
shoot, me too.
So is that what kind of inspired you to lean more towards the boxing route versus MMA? Is your grandfather and your dad and the
So
generational?
that and the fact that I really don't like getting elbowed and kicked in the face anymore. Now that
Yeah.
I'm older, when I was younger, it didn't bother me as much. You know, like somebody would kick me in the head and I'd eat it and just walk through. Now
Hmm.
I kind of just sit back and I'm like, yeah, I really don't like that very much.
Right. Right.
And
And
I got,
then the grappling is a whole other component that is a skill in itself to master. And of course, the guys at Olympic are sharp. I mean, I'm sure you learned a lot while you were there, but implementing it all together, it's
it's
definitely
very complex, very
it's very
complex.
complex. Yep,
And then
complexity.
speaking of the grappling thing, I helped Justin Carpenter with his last fight. I did a lot of the jujitsu and
Hmm.
grappling training with him. And within like 2 rounds of the first day we did it, and this is after I haven't done it since I got out of the Marine Corps, because you know the Marine Corps has McMAP. It's the Marine Corps martial arts program,
Okay.
and I'm a brown belt in that, which is almost black. I'm one level below a black belt, and our grappling there is completely different than what we do for MMA and
Right.
jiu-jitsu and everything like that. So helping Justin prepare for his fight, within 2 rounds, I was to the point of throwing up and gassed out, and
Yeah.
I felt I don't know if you allow cussing on your podcast.
Oh
I'm really
yeah,
not going
absolutely.
to.
Cuss away, man. Cuss away. It's all
But I
good.
felt like a complete bitch because like I worked so hard in the gym boxing. Like
Yeah.
I'm in there from 3:30 to 7:30 every day that I do get the chance
Yeah.
to go. And within 10 minutes of me grappling, I was throwing up and exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
a
I
different
felt,
kind of endurance. Yeah. It's
oh
muscle
yeah, I
muscle.
felt like the biggest bitch ever.
Yeah. Oh, I feel it too. When I take a break and I come back, it's like feel like you got run over by a truck when you leave. And
Definitely,
so
especially grappling Justin. Like that dude,
he's strong.
he's a brick wall, man.
Hmm. Yeah, he's built for it for sure. He's built to be a fighter. So let me ask you this. So tell me a little bit about your goals. Like what's the future look like for G? I mean, what is it that you aspire to accomplish in the near future, and then also in the distant future?
So I'm giving myself till next December, and if I haven't won at least one or two championship belts, like not even uh like big show belts, like just some of the ones like we have in the gym already. If I haven't won one or two of those, then I'm not going to say I failed, because failure is a interpretation of one's own mind.
Right.
Because I'm not doing this just for the belts. I want to be able to eventually open my own gym. That's my
Hmm.
big goal in life. Is I want to open my own school. That way I can
A
teach
boxing school.
kids.
A boxing school.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Because I mean, boxing is my thing. Like I love it. I
Hmm.
will box. I will choose boxing over anything. I will watch boxing over anything. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I think boxing is corrupted in ways? Yes. There are promoters that corrupt it and fighters that do things stupidly, and the whole like YouTube boxing thing. I don't even want to get started on that
anytime there's money involved, corruption it
is going to follow.
finds its way in, and anytime there's humans involved, there's the human element of, you know,
Greed and
greed and corruption. Yep, yep. So I totally get it, and I guess that would apply to any, sport and anything. I'm sure there's always someone in there that um, tries to cut corners or get ahead in unethical ways. But for the most part, I believe I'm like you. I think boxing is one of the truest forms of competition between two men. It's one of the rawest forms of competition, um, as well as most combat sports. And I grew up watching boxing. I remember I had Roy Jones posters on my wall when I was a kid. Man, I was obsessed, and that was my first entrance into combat sports was boxing. I started boxing in seventh grade, and I just fell in love with it, man. I fell in love with the smell of the gym and the no, the grind and it's just a special thing, and it's really cool to be a part of the warrior class, which obviously you are. Appreciate your service as far as the military and the Marine Corps. I love what you stand for. I love that, you've been through a lot as a young man and a kid growing up. I too was adopted at two. Uh, my biological father was not in the picture after maybe 2 or 3 years old, before I can even remember, and was later adopted by my dad that raised me, and those kind of things build character. It may not be the ideal hand to be dealt, but it forms who you are, and it forms your character. It teaches you, how to be resourceful and how to survive, and resilience, and things that I can obviously see that you have in your character, and there's no doubt that's why you're successful, man. That's why you're a fighter, and that's why you're going to continue to succeed. And I have no doubt that you'll accomplish those things that you're set out to accomplish before December of next year. And consistency obviously pays off. And every time I go to the gym and every time I train, man, I see you in there and I see you putting in the work. And those things don't go unnoticed, and they obviously will pay off, in the future. But so what drives you to continue to fight? Like what's the driving factor? Like what are your reasons to fight?
So there's three main ones, right?
Okay.
So it's my son. He's 3, and
Mm-hmm.
he sees how I come home. Like he don't get to come watch me practice anymore since we have moved to Jennings. We no longer live close,
Mm-hmm.
but when we lived close, he would come to the gym and watch me. And I remember specifically, we had a sparring event at the gym one day where another team came from Texas and we sparred. And out of everybody in the gym, I didn't hear them. All I heard was my son screaming, "Go, daddy,
Yeah.
go." And just after the hug he gave me after that was the tightest hug my son has ever given me. And that's not like me asking for pity at that point, because my son's 3. His
Yeah. Yeah.
attention spans all over. One minute he's gonna want to hug me and tell me, "Daddy, I love you," and the next minute he's gonna be like, "Look, daddy, I got a Hulk toy." So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that hug that he gave me after that sparring match was like a, what do you call, like a flamethrower lighting inside me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the next one is it's a self motivation deal. I was bullied in high school. I was picked on.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always tell people, like, yeah, like you can hurt me all you want, sticks and stones, that whole saying or whatever.
Right.
But I knew that, like, inside I was resilient enough to just keep crawling and keep fighting. And
Mm.
so that has led me to push more and more. And I don't I don't plan on stopping until my body will almost shut down. And there's been
Mm-hmm.
times where I have trained myself so hard being at this gym, where like
Right.
I would go home and just lay down and pass out because I was so tired. And
Yeah.
then the third one is just, there's kids in that gym that will come up to me and they ask me all these questions, and it's like that right there drives you to want to be
Yeah.
an influence for those kids, because a lot of those kids don't have parental influences, and they live with their
Mm-hmm.
grandmother, or they don't even have that. They're just trying to find a big brother role. And there's a time where, yeah, you got to separate in the gym, where you got to focus on yourself and you got to be selfish. Boxing is a selfish sport. You're gonna have times where it's like, I want to help you, but I have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can go after you finish whatever you got to do and go help the kid or the
Mm-hmm.
other boxer or whichever it may be. But 90% of my time, if I'm training and there's a kid that'll come up and ask me a question, I will stop what I'm doing and help that kid. That may play a factor in the why I haven't fully developed, but at the same time, like, I know that I'm doing what I feel is consciously right. So my big factors are my family, myself, and the kids in the gym that look up to me.
That's powerful, man. I've always been told reasons come first. The reasons come before the results, and the reasons and why you do something matters more than how you're doing it or what you're doing. And those are obviously very strong reasons. I can relate, man. Having a son, my son has autism, and I don't see him getting in the ring or anything. But man, just anytime you think about quitting, you just have to remind yourself of who's watching, who's looking up to you, and um, you're obviously, a huge role model for the kids in the gym. I could see it. I can even see my little stepson who's in there watching you, train, and it's just cool, man. Because boxing, as someone who was also bullied in elementary school and middle school, I started boxing in seventh grade, and it did so much for my confidence, and I didn't get bullied anymore. After, and it's not that I got in a lot of fights, or it's not that I did anything different. I think it's just how we carry ourselves when we have a little more confidence and we know, that we can stand up for ourselves. People, bullies tend to target weak, but the weaker people. People that may be timid, or they sense to be afraid, and it's just phenomenal what boxing can instill in a young man, or even a young girl.
Woman.
Just, yeah, woman, learning how to defend yourself, learning some basic fundamentals, and just getting in there and experiencing even just sparring, and uh, being in the ring. It just does something for your confidence, and it's something that I just think every kid should get into at least a little bit, just
Even if they're not, like you said, even if they're not competing, I feel like all kids should get into some form of some sort of combat sport
right,
to
right.
develop the confidence that is needed to succeed in this world. Because as much as I hate to say it, the world is a mean and hateful fucking place.
It really is. Yeah.
There's, especially the day and age that is coming now compared to what it
Right,
was
right.
maybe 5-10 years ago. It's a
Hmm.
lot worse now than it was then, because there's more social medias. There's these people that'll literally take a picture of you and use it as blackmail. Like,
Hmm.
so,
Right.
like, or if you post a tweet, somebody's gonna go find your tweet and bring it up when you do become famous and try to ruin what you have built for your name. Like,
Yeah.
the world is evil, and
Hmm.
Mike Tyson, I believe, said it best. He's talking about, like, when you do get in the combat sports, you got to have that killer instinct. You got to be that man that's not afraid to go and fuck people up. But
Right.
once you decide to hang it up, you're you gotta go back to being a normal civilian.
Hmm.
And he was talking. I can't remember who he was talking to. I think he was talking to Sugar Ray, and he broke down in the tears and he cried and he was like, "I'm scared of the man I was when I was boxing in the ring,
Hmm.
because, like, he wants to rip people's hearts out and he wants to kill. And if I go back to that guy, I'm not gonna
Hmm.
be normal anymore. I'm gonna be in jail. I'm gonna be a killer."
Yeah.
And
Yes. I think Jordan Peterson says a weak man is not a good man. A good man is a dangerous man who knows how to control it. And it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. And
yes, yes, I love that quote. I literally have that written in all my little, like, books. I write my combos down that I come up with. Like, I sit at work sometimes and I have a book bag that I bring to me with the gym, and I
hmm
have books, notebooks in them, and in those notebooks I either have motivational quotes or combos or workouts or just something to keep my mind rolling.
yeah.
And the number one quote that I have written along every page of that book is, it's good to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And, you know, being a warrior like that, it affects all aspects of your life, not just being a fighter. And when you go through life knowing that you're a wolf amongst sheep, it just makes things easier to accomplish. Mindset to me is everything. How important do you um, believe mindset is to success and to fighting and to life, and how has that affected you throughout your life?
So mindset is a huge thing for me. I have struggled with having a positive and uh, just fuck it all mindset for the longest time. It was up until this year, coming January, this last January, when I lost me and my fiance. We lost our baby that we were having, and I kind of wanted to give up, and I felt
Yeah.
like everything was my fault because I had gotten into a verbal argument with her the day before. It was my son's birthday party. We had just moved to Jennings, and we were just stressed because of money and all this.
Yeah.
So we got into a little verbal spat, and then that night she lost the baby. And prior to that, I had quit at the boxing gym because I had lost my fight in Homa, and it was my first amateur fight, and I lost decisively, and it ate at me because I didn't know how to lose very well. Mind you,
Hmm.
I haven't won my whole life. Like
Hmm.
I haven't. I'm not the guy that's got all the money from mommy and daddy. I'm not the guy
Hmm.
that has all these awards on my wall or anything like that. Every sport that I've ever played, the only one that I've ever actually won anything in was when I was rodeo, and I won a rodeo in Texas. I won a bull riding belt buckle, and that
Hmm.
was like the first major accomplishment in my career. That I did that for 15 years, and
Hmm.
I didn't win anything until 2015. I've always been the underdog, and
Yeah,
finally, like this year, it just clicked in my head. Like, if I'm the underdog, I'm gonna embrace this shit, and I'm gonna prove why you should always bet on the underdog, because I'm gonna make it, and I'm not gonna quit.
I love
And
it.
I'm that's just a big thing for me. So mindset plays a huge factor to me, not only in my fighting, but in my personal life, my professional life, my just anything. Like, I'm always going
Yeah,
to have 100% positive mindset on myself because I
I
know
definitely.
that I'm not going to quit anymore.
I love it, man. I love it. And I can relate to that underdog story 100%. And I think that's why we clicked right out the gate. You warriors can sense and smell the war on other warriors. We know we can, that's something cool about a boxing gym and, being around other people in combat sports. A lot of people from the outside looking in think that, it's a lot of hotheads and a lot of egos and cocky people. And of course there's people who are confident and you have to be confident, but at the end of the day, we're humble and welcoming to other people, and we want to see people, better
Succeed.
themselves. Yeah, we want to see people succeed. And and it's really cool to hear other people's stories and see so many parallels as far as what they've gone through in life and how those things play into to their accomplishments and where they're headed. And I think life is a series of failures, and I think that's what makes us grow. We learn way more from when we lose than when we win. And and then it just takes that, like you said, resilience, and keeping a positive mind, and keep setting those new goals, and even more importantly, remembering why you're going after the things you're going after, because the reasons, like I said earlier, will always come before the results. And it's important to have goals. I mean, you can't hit what you don't see. If you were in the boxing ring and you were blindfolded, it'd be much harder to hit your opponent than being able to see. And if you aim small, you miss small. So
Exactly.
so setting very specific goals, knowing exactly where you're headed, having the mindset, a positive mindset that you're going to accomplish these things, remembering why you're set out to accomplish them, I mean, it's a recipe for success, and the goals that you set won't just be a possibility; they'll be an inevitability because you're not going to stop until you hit them. And I can see that in you, man. I can see that you have the warrior spirit. You know, you've been through a lot of shit in your life, and you're inspiring a lot of people who may have gone through the same type of thing. Kids who may be going through those same things right now can look up to Coach G and be like, "Hey, man, this is who I want to be like." And and then even in our own lives, like the things you mentioned, with the miscarriage and the struggles and the hard times that we go through in life when we're stressed and depressed and fighting anxiety and all these things, at the end of the day, we understand that we can control our own mind and we can overcome these things. We just got to get up and fight every day. And I think that's why we are here on this earth to overcome adversity, to become the best versions of ourselves that we can be. And we can't become those versions without adversity, without overcoming obstacles, without being um, forced to face trials and tribulations and fail repeatedly until we win. And man, you were just e- exemplify exactly what who a warrior is. And I'm honored to be your friend, man. And I look forward to obviously growing our relationship and training together in the future, and just watching you become world class, because you're definitely a world class human being, and you're definitely on your way to doing really really big things. And yeah, man, I'm excited to watch it all unfold. And so, how can people follow you, man? If people want to follow you on social media, people want to follow your journey, what's the best way for them to follow you? On what platforms?
I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I believe both of my TikTok handle and my TikTok name, or TikTok name and Instagram handle, are the same, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's Ellison 71 kg, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken. If not, I'll send it to you in a message. You can tag it in the
Yeah,
video.
I'll look it up and I'll put it in the comments of the video, and I'll put it in the description on YouTube, so people could go and they can find you and follow your journey and watch you you know,
Take the
reach those
world by storm.
exactly, dude. Take it over, man.
Yes,
Well, look,
sir.
I'm gonna let you get back to your day, man. Thanks so much for hopping on with us today and sharing a little bit about your story and your journey. And I have no doubt, man, you're gonna accomplish big things. And like I said, man, it's an honor to be partnered up with you in life and then watch it all happen.
Thank you, brother, man. I can't wait to finally once again take over the world.
All right, man.
All right, brother.
Have a good one. Later,
You
brother.
too. Later.
Later.